What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be showcasing a bunch of new, really interesting Destiny 2 information about the upcoming Curse of Osiris expansion. Most of the info we're covering today has to do with new content coming to Destiny 2 with this DLC. And this is what you could call a half leak, because the info we're covering today has certainly not yet been announced. You guys are getting the inside scoop. Now, this does still have a source, so let's get started. And let's begin with discussing that source. Many of you have noticed that with the last hotfix that we got a couple days ago, that was pretty big for the tiny patch notes that was provided by Bungie. Well, that's actually correct. Not everything in the patch notes was actually added in that last patch. With the Curse of Osiris expansion so close to launching on December 5th, Bungie is already starting to add the ground layer of content into the game, the stuff that it needs to add the new content coming with Curse of Osiris. So, some of the things added with this latest patch included API changes. So what is API? API is essentially the code on which Destiny 2 is built. It looks like this. And to most people, it means, well, who knows what it means. But to someone who knows how to actually read this, we can tell what content, what changes are actually being added to the game with this patch, and therefore we know what's coming in the Curse of Osiris. So big shout out to Reddit user Spiffomatic64. He was the one that went in and disseminated all this information and brought it into a readable form. So let's actually talk about what these API changes are saying. So, firstly, there seems to be 3 new activities added with the Curse of Osiris. In fact, what I showed you guys as an example of API, this is actually the example of a new activity being added. And you can see here, activity level, activity light level, destination, place, is playlist, is PvP. This is showcasing all of the main pillars of the basis for all activities. Is it PvP? Where is it? What does it reward? What's the light level requirements? All of that stuff. And there was 3 different examples of this being added. Hence, 3 new activities coming with this expansion. Now, I should mention that this isn't set in stone. Perhaps there's a 4th activity that they haven't added the API for. Perhaps they're adding more activities than are actually going to be in Curse of Osiris. Perhaps one of these activities is going to be for DLC 2. We don't know, but this is a good indication of the content being added. And of course, I thought you guys would want to know about this. So what are these activities? Well, unfortunately, that's what we don't know, and that's the thing about API, it's relatively vague, especially when you have the actual description being, keep it secret, keep it safe. Bungie knows people are going to dig into this and come up with this stuff, so they want to pretty much save that until the launch. Now let's continue on with the new content the API shows is coming. Next up, there's 3 new locations coming with the Curse of Osiris. Now, locations are places on the maps of planets, like vendor locations, spawn points, etc. So, one of these locations could definitely be Mercury itself. One could be specifically the lighthouse, possibly. You have 2 different spawn points there. One could be maybe another location on Mercury. One could be something completely different. 3 locations is actually kind of a big deal, and it does lend credence to this screenshot here. This, of course, was taken from the latest Bungie livestream about Curse of Osiris. You'll notice here that the Almighty seems to be a place you can go. If you load up Destiny 2 right now and look at your maps, look at your destinations, it's not there. This is not a thing. But the fact that in this screenshot, it is a circle selecting it, you can go, it seems like, to the Almighty. Perhaps that takes up one of these locations. Perhaps there's going to be missions or even a public space on the Almighty. Who knows? Now, moving on from there, it seems a new objective has been added. Now, an objective, for example, is something like Pikejacked. Steal a fallen pike and use it to defeat 20 enemies. That's an objective in Destiny 2 right now. So a completely new one would likely go to a completely new activity, something like the new public event Bungie has talked about. Moving on, something huge is that there is apparently a trial version of Destiny 2 in the works. This comes from an objective to escort players through the trial version, not Trials of the 9, but a trial version of Destiny 2, and this emblem here. This was dug out of the game files. And you can clearly see this emblem is awarded for doing just that. Now this is interesting because with Destiny 1, it actually became a trial version. I remember at the tail end of Destiny's lifespan, I tried to buy just the vanilla game on the Xbox One, and it didn't work. You could only get the trial version, which was levels 1 to 7, and then you had to buy Destiny the Collection, which came with up to the Taken King. So that's an interesting side note that they did the same thing with Destiny 1, so it looks like Destiny 2 will go that direction as well. This is, of course, going to be very helpful for anyone trying to convince their friends to get Destiny 2. You can say, hey, well, you can download it for free and play a trial version and see if you like it. And moving on from there, the last thing of note we're going to talk about today is that there's one new sandbox perk. So that means, as of right now, there is at least one new perk, probably a weapon perk, that weapons for the Curse of Osiris can potentially spawn with. If this perk is competitive, if it adds something major, like Rampage is as good as that, then we're going to really shake up the potentially PvE or PvP or both environments with these new weapons with this new perk. Now again, this is just as of now. There could be more, there could be up to 10 new perks introduced, but so far, one for sure, potentially more coming. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Now, if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want to get notified of new uploads, be sure to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to support myself and the channel, check out the official merchandise linked in the description down below. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest activity, hit me up on Twitter at RickKakis. That's also linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.